finally sit down in the morning time with a cup of tea and have a good old chat on the Moore Army podcast. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Moore Army podcast. Hope you're all doing well out there as always. Welcome to this Thursday's edition of the podcast. As I sit here this morning with my cup of Tetley tea. Here's to you. Feeling a hell of a lot better than what I have the last few weeks, trust me. I did do a podcast, not last Tuesday, the Tuesday before. I was supposed to be here last Thursday, but Lewis and I were dying again. But it's clear to say, guys, I'm sitting here this morning feeling a hell of a lot better than what I have the last few weeks, trust me. I am feeling nearly back to my normal self. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling refreshed. I'm feeling like this, whatever the hell it is we've had in this household for the last few weeks, is finally deciding to piss off out of my system. And I'm now getting to the point now where it's like, right, starting to get back to my old self again. But anyway, yes, good morning. Well, good afternoon or good evening, whatever it is, the time of the day you decide to listen to this podcast. I've got some interesting things I want to talk about today. But I'm just sat here this morning on a very weird morning outside. It's sort of sitting here this morning, looking out the window, going to myself, what type of day are we going to get today? Are we going to get more rain? Are we going to get another storm like we've had in this country the last few days? Are we going to have snow like we did last week? Which I put it on YouTube, by the way. Not very much where I live here in Bangor, but most parts of Northern Ireland was covered in snow. Most parts of the UK and the mainland England as well, and Scotland especially, was pretty bad with snow. But as always, where I live, I don't really get much snow. We do get heavy snow. It's very much a miracle. But we've had storms this past week. We've had everything you can think of. We've had monsoon seasons. Then we had a bit of sunshine. Then we had rain. Then we had a storm. Then we had another storm. So it's just been one of those weeks. But as I said to you, I'm sitting here this morning looking out the window going to myself, right, are we going to have another horrible day today? What are we going to have? But to be quite honest with you, I don't care. Because you know something? I feel a hell of a lot better than what I have done this past 3 weeks. And I'm going to sit here and shoot the breeze with you for the next, I don't know how many minutes. I'm going to answer some of your questions. And I'm going to get myself back on track. So anyway, guys, yes, once again, if you are new to this podcast, hello. Welcome to the podcast for the first time. Welcome to the RG Bargy here of the Moore Army podcast. If you are a regular listener, welcome back. But if you'd like to get in touch with us here on the Moore Army podcast, which a lot of you do every week, you can by the following methods. You can contact us by the old email, which is moorearmypodcast@yahoo.com. That's moorearmypodcast@yahoo.com. You can contact me on social media. You know how to do that by now, guys. Instagram, which is official Matthew Moore. The Facebook page, which is Moore Army YouTube channel. Please check out the Moore Army YouTube channel as well. We can hit subscribe on that channel. Follow us with over, I'd say, close to nearly 2,500 videos on there now. We've got over 51,000 subscribers. We've got loads of followers on there. If you want to go and check out, if you're listening to this podcast also here on the Moore Army Podcast YouTube channel, please subscribe to this. I would appreciate it. Also, if you want to head over to the website and get some of the new merchandise, you can. If you go onto the main page of the website, you can get all our merchandise. You can watch all the vlogs. You can check out all our social media posts, whether it be pictures, videos, etc., etc. It's like the Moore Army Hub. I've dropped some new merch there over the last week or so. So you can go and check out moorearmy.co.uk. That's moorearmy.co.uk. So it's www.moorearmy.co.uk. So, yes, guys, what have I got for you today? Well, what I've been up to, I always like to talk about what I've been up to first of all. Since Tuesday past. Not Tuesday past, Tuesday before. Guys, you know something, on this podcast, I was feeling a little bit more myself. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what the hell it's been. This virus has been going on in our household for the last couple of weeks. Brooke has had it 2 or 3 times. I've been run down so many times I've lost count. Lewis is on the verge of finishing the course of antibiotics because of it. You know, mum and dad's had chest infections over the last couple of weeks. They haven't been feeling overly great either. Tony's been sick too. It just seems to be going around. Everybody in this family just seems to be fucking sick. You know, I talked about it on last Tuesday's podcast, and I was actually generally feeling a lot better. And then on the Tuesday night after I put the podcast out, and I was getting ready to see within the last 3 or 4 hours before I headed to bed that night, guys, I felt like somebody had just literally dragged me out my front door, laid me on my driveway, and came with a fucking lorry and just decided to drive over the top of me. That Tuesday night, I just felt horrible. I felt run down, drained, sick as a dog, and then I felt a cold coming on. I kept sneezing, and I was like, I remember turning to Lewis, and Lewis was starting to feel like crap too. Lewis hasn't even hardly been at school the last week and a half because of it all. And I said to Lewis, this is having a laugh, like, seriously. Then Brooke, she was in bed again too as well. She's had to take a few days off work because of being sick. But the whole point of it is, guys, this bug that's going around is literally knocking people for six. Now, obviously, I've had a few people on at me saying, you know, oh, what's wrong with you? You know, are you okay? Or what is it? Is it COVID? Is it this? Is it that? Is it pneumonia? Is it flu? I don't know what it is, but it's kicked the shit out of me. And, you know, I've tried to get my best to get up and get on with it like I always do, guys, because when I get sick, I don't tend to lie around like most people do, men do, and cry and say man flu and stuff. I have to get up and get on with it, but this has literally kicked the shit out of me for the last few weeks. So Lewis and I spent Wednesday on the sofa, sick. We didn't even go to football last Saturday. Yeah, I know. You're saying, what, Matthew, you always go to football on Saturday with Lewis? I know. We haven't even done a Liverpool live reaction on the channel, which there was another match on last night. Lewis is still on his antibiotics. He's feeling about 80%, but he's not the best. Liverpool were now into the League Cup final. Even when we went to that first leg 2 weeks ago, we still weren't 100%. You go back and watch the vlog, guys, you can actually hear the flu you can actually hear the sickness in my voice. It came and went and came and went and came and went and came and went. It literally comes and knocks your shit out of you. It leaves for a day or two and comes back and goes, yeah, I want to kick your shit out of you again. But we're over the worst of it now. Thank God. I'm starting to feel a little bit more normal now. You know, even last Thursday night, now guys, I've said this in this podcast many a time, every Thursday night I sit and have a beer with Tony and I have a good laugh and we chill out and stuff. Last Thursday, I was feeling pretty shit. I was tired all day, I was run down, and I thought, right, I'll have a beer and see if it'll help me sleep. Because my sleep pattern was atrocious. Up all night, too warm, then too cold. But all day Wednesday, you know, Thursday, I was up and about and trying to keep busy, and I was working and trying to do different things, whatever else, and I thought, right, I'll try and get this out of me, and I'll maybe have a beer or two tonight, and then I'll feel obviously better. It'll help me and knock me to sleep. I'll get a good night's sleep. Jesus, guys, I had, what was it? Not even 2 beers, and I was feeling the effects of it. I was just like, nah, I need to wrap this night up. And I wrapped it up early, and I went to bed, and I was absolutely cream crackered. Friday was the same, just tiredness, run down. Spent the day literally trying to sweat it out of me by working and doing things around the house and just trying to keep busy, and never happened. And I said to Lewis on Friday night, I said, Lewis, we're due to go to Fermanagh here tomorrow for the game against Ballinamallard with the Welders tomorrow. Are you feeling up to it? Lewis, at this point, was fucked. Lewis was on the sofa, wrapped in a blanket, didn't know what day it was. He was sweating, he was high temperature. It was just like, fucking hell, like, seriously? And then Friday night, at about 9 o'clock, I just felt like a lorry was running over the top of me again, and I was just like, no, I'm done with this. So I said, right, I'll go to bed early, I'll try and sleep this thing off, and I'll get up on Saturday morning. I'll head to football, hopefully a bit of country air will make me feel better, a bit of fresh air around the countryside. Hell no. Woke up Saturday morning feeling like I hadn't even slept at all. Came down, went into to see if Lewis was okay. Lewis was fucked. Lewis was as white as a sheet. He was knackered. He was like that. I couldn't hardly sleep all night. I wasn't feeling great. I was like, freaking hell, like, we never miss football on a Saturday, guys. Very, very rarely we miss football. So then I obviously had to contact the club and tell them that I couldn't be there. So then we just spent Saturday on the sofa. We just literally spent Saturday on the sofa, just drinking loads of fluids, taking loads of paracetamol. Obviously I phoned the doctor, got Lewis an antibiotic, because his chest and all, it was just a nightmare with him. So he's on his antibiotics, and I've just sweated it out of me and fought through it all. And I'm feeling today, guys, a hell of a lot fucking better than what I have done, to be quite honest with you. And that's why there's been no podcasts, there's been no vlogs. We did do a recording for a vlog today, where Lewis finally got his hands on that new Cherry frickin' Prime, whatever it's called. And also I got a special delivery in the post, so that'll be coming up today on hopefully the YouTube channel. Take we drink here. That's damn good tea, trust me. Can't beat a cup of Tetley tea. Tetley, if you're listening, I like a sponsor for the podcast. But no, I'm glad I'm feeling a lot better. Lewis went back to school today for the first time. He tried, sorry, I'll tell you another story. He tried to go back on Monday, and he lasted till about 11 a.m. He said to me, Dad, can I try and go back to school? And I went, Lewis, you're still not 100%. Right, go. So he went, and I got a phone call at about 5 to 11. He was in school about 2 hours. Mr. Moore, we have to send Lewis home. He's not great. And I was like, okay, cool. So I phoned the GP again, says keep him off for another day or two at least, till more of the antibiotics get into his system. So off he went this morning. He's feeling a hell of a lot better this morning. He's looking a bit more better this morning. And off he goes. So he's away to school for the day. So hopefully this is the end of it, guys. And it's just been one thing after another. Brooke's back to her normal self, which is great. It's just this I don't know what it is, but it's going around and it's kicking the shit out of people, this virus. And, you know, I'm just so glad it's away. It's a pain in the arse. It's not even so much about being sick. It's just a pain in the ass when you're trying to do your daily routines and trying to work and trying to do your things from home and trying to do all your different things as well. And this virus is in your system and it's kicking the shit out of you. And then when you finally think it's going away, it's like, I ain't coming back. I'm not leaving yet. I'm coming back to knock you again. I'm coming back to kick your crap out again. And it comes back for another couple of days and kicks the crap out of you. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this is the end of it. But anyway, on the positive note, everything is all good. So it is with the Moore household and I. We're sort of getting ourselves back to normality. So we are trying to get ourselves back to normality and trying to get ourselves back out there again. So, it's just one of those things. So it is. But anyway, guys, before we go any further into the podcast today, I obviously want to, send a wee message to a friend of mine, a guy called Sean, who you saw on my YouTube channel. A guy, Sean, who is part of the podcast that I appeared in a while back, the ASAP podcast, the ASAP podcast as they're called. It's called Ah Shit, another podcast here in Northern Ireland. I just want to send out my condolences to Sean, who unfortunately this past week lost his dad. I just happened to come across it the other night. I was just looking through social media the other night there, and it just popped up that he'd lost his dad. So it did. So I just wanted to obviously take a few moments here on the podcast today, guys, to send my condolences to to Sean, because obviously Sean's a good lad, and he is, he's just a great guy in general. I've always get on really well with him. The time we had a night out and all 2 summers ago when I was down doing their podcast, it was a phenomenal night, guys. Go and check out the podcast, the podcast on Spotify and Apple Music and all. ASAP podcast they're called, or Ah Shit in our podcast. The time I had on their podcast was phenomenal. Him and Adam, who does the podcast with him. Obviously I speak about them sometimes here on my podcast, but I just wanted to take a wee moment today here on my podcast to send my condolences to Sean, because losing a parent's obviously very, very hard, and I'm sure he's obviously heartbroken at the minute, and heads all over the place. But I just want to take a wee moment today on the podcast to say, to let him know that I'm thinking about him, and to let him know if he needs me. He has my number. He can call me anytime he needs me. It's obviously, he's in a difficult place right now, and I just wanted to send my thoughts and prayers and condolences to him, his family, and at this sad time, because obviously, I was obviously shocked to hear the news when I saw the news the other day, but I obviously want to send my condolences to Sean and his family right now. So Sean, if you're listening, I know obviously you and Adam listen to the podcast. I just want to obviously say, I'm here for you, brother, and if you need me, you know where I am. You've got my number. You can call anytime. And obviously it's a hard time for you and the family at the moment, but just to let you know that I'm here for you, and we're all thinking about you here in the Moore family, and we do send our love, thoughts and prayers to you and your family at this sad time. Right, okay, what have I got to talk to you about today on the podcast? Well, since some interesting stories I want to talk to you about. Some sad stories as well. Somebody has been contacting me over the last week or so, asking me questions about certain things that you've saw in the news and stuff, and are you going to talk about this because you've been talking about this person for months, etc., etc. And I'm going to start with the first one that a lot of you have been contacting me about, and it's about little Jeanette McCranky up in Scotland. Nicola Sturgeon is back in the news. I know it's obviously a few days late since it was first broken, because obviously with us not being on the air. But all I can say to you is, guys, I told you so again. I've been saying about these politicians for well over a year now, about all the corruption that's going on in politics in relation to all the crap that we had to go through this past 3-4 years in relation to lockdowns and COVID and restrictions, and politicians taking the piss out of us, politicians lying to us, etc., 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 etc. And we all know there's this inquiry going on at the minute about what happened during the COVID lockdowns and all. I hate talking about COVID in this podcast because I don't want to talk about it, to be honest with you, anymore. But it's come out in the news this past week that Nicola Sturgeon has now been hiding stuff and deleting messages on WhatsApp to try and cover her tracks for all the bullshit that she was feeding the good people of Scotland during lockdowns, and during all the bullshit that she was feeding out to her countrymen whenever she was the person in charge of the country. And all I can say to you is, I told you so. I told you the same about the government over here. I told you the same about Boris Johnson. I told you the same about Matt Hancock. Told you the same about Sturgeon, about that old fucker in Wales as well. What was his name? Drakeford, who is an absolute moron who's still stuck in the 1920s and 30s with the way he runs his country. I've been saying it for a long time, guys, and a lot of you were contacting me about it this past week, sending me on emails and messages and all. You got to talk about it, you got to talk about it, you got to talk about it. Okay, I'm talking about it, and all I can say to you is, I told you so. And I had a lot of you haters coming into me on the start of this podcast and calling me what was it? You were calling me a liar, a moron, a person who stirs the pot, shit stir, doesn't know what I'm talking about. What is a conspiracy theorist, anti-vaxxer, bullshitter, the list goes on and on and on and on and on, and it's all coming out now. And all I can say to you on this matter is, I told you so. And it's going to continue. And it's going to continue for the next lot of years until all these little wee rats that have been telling us lies for years is all going to come out in the end. And these are all going to say, well, maybe Matthew was right after all. So there you go. And I was talking to a friend of mine on Facebook the other day, a Scottish friend of mine. And he even mailed me saying, are you going to talk about this out bitch on your podcast this week? Because during 2021, early 2021, me and him used to talk back and forth quite a bit, and he used to go, but maybe she's right, no, maybe she's just, And I was like, listen, she's full of nonsense. She's feeding you a load of shite like bumbling bars down in England, like the morons in the circus on the top of the hill over here in Northern Ireland as well. Though they're telling us crap, they're lying to us, they think we're flipping stupid. It's all going to come out in the end. And then I was talking to him there when was I talking to him? Start of the week. And he was like, did you want to talk about how fucking Sturgeon are on your podcast and all the lies and all the messages she's been hiding and all? I mean, you're not the only one's been like getting in contact with me. So there you go. Another one bites the dust. So there you are. Miss Sturgeon is at it again. No surprise, to be quite honest with you. No surprise at all. Guys, let's talk about Netflix today on the podcast. Now, I know we've talked about Netflix there last year. About people were complaining about the prices being put up by £2, and people are saying, believe it or not, Netflix is actually growing even more. Now, obviously Netflix has made a big announcement there a couple of days ago, but obviously there's been more news that's come out over the last 24 hours. Netflix were cracking down on their password exchanges for people who were sharing passwords and multiple accounts and stuff like that. And, since they cracked down, they've actually gained an extra 13.1 million subscribers because of it all. And now Netflix are now going into the world of live streaming, like Prime Video and things like that, because they've announced the news 2 days ago that they've now signed a deal, a $5 billion deal with WWE Wrestling. They're going to be showing their main television program, Monday Night Raw, live every Monday night on Netflix. This is a massive move for Netflix, signing up one of the biggest things. They also are looking into signing in sporting events, pay-per-view events as well, on down the road. So from January 2025, Netflix will be showing live every Monday night WWE Monday Night Raw. And they're also looking into signing in maybe more Formula One, maybe more sporting events like football, American football and stuff like that. They're looking to expand their business even further. So in the last year or so, Netflix, their subscription rate has grown even further, with more millions of people signing up to their service. Me personally, I did have Netflix a long time ago, but I obviously got rid of it because I didn't really watch it much, to be honest with you. But again, they're going down the route of like Prime Video and other streaming services as well, where they're going to be showing live sporting events. But they announced this massive deal with WWE, taking that program that has been running on television for 31 years and taking it off a television platform for the first time ever and putting it onto a streaming service is a massive, massive thing. Guys, we all know the way the world is now. Most things are going to streaming services. You got the likes of Amazon Prime, Netflix, Now TV, Roku TV, with all these different services. Like, for example, TV companies here in the UK, like BBC iPlayer, Channel 4, or 4 on Demand or something it's called, 5 on Demand. You've got ITV Plus, ITVX, you've got the Sky on Demand. You've got all these different services on demand now you pay for. And this is the discussion that we've had in the podcast before about TV licensing. If you're paying for a subscription service, why should you have a TV license if you're not using that subscription service? Hence why this year now, 2024, could the TV license be then scrapped? Is normal, regular TV a thing of the past? We all know what TV has evolved over the years, from your standard analog television, which was switched off eventually years ago. It went into digital TV, then it went to high definition TV, now it went to 4K TV. Some programs are now being shown in 8K as well. So the evolution of TV has changed so much over the years. Even back from the days when I was a kid, where you only had so many channels on a standard terrestrial TV here in the UK. Then you had to buy satellite television to get those. Jesus, I remember the first Sky TV box we ever had. We only had 16 channels on it. And Sky weren't even putting out 16 channels on that box at the time. You were able to tune in other channels, maybe one or two from like Germany or France or whatever. But again, it was all different. Analog TV as well. You just have to tune in your channels instead of just plugging in a device and away you go. Then they launched digital TV, and then they launched Sky Digital here in the UK, and then it changed to Sky High Definition. It's all evolved and changed. Even Sky TV now are going streaming. So the world of streaming television is now a way of the future. Sky are now, they have their service now where instead of having a dish strapped to the side of your wall, a satellite dish, you can now watch your Sky television streaming on a television device called Sky Glass, which they have a TV service all built in for you. So everything is changing, and with Netflix now making these big announcements over the last few days as well, they've made more subscriptions. They've announced this is their biggest intake of new subscribers since 2020. And we all know in 2020 the way the world was, people were at home, they were bored, there was nothing to do, they were watching more TV and stuff, so more people were subscribing to places like the likes of Prime and Netflix and whatever else. But now, since they've done this whole password thing where they're stopping it from people sharing passwords to other households, whatever else, 13.1 million extra subscribers is insane. And they've announced, I said, this big deal, this $5 billion deal with the WWE, which is massive. So Netflix are on the move, guys, of becoming a massive, well, obviously one of the biggest streaming service in the world. So they are. So it's strange, but God, I remember when, just talking about the WWE side with Netflix, I remember when they first brought out their own network, the WWE network, back in 2014. You used to think to yourself, God, I'm watching the pay-per-view events now streaming on the internet instead of buying it on Sky like we used to do for all those years. I'm actually watching it live streaming on the internet. It's crazy. The world is evolving, guys. It's getting scary. But moving away from that, some sad news on the podcast today. Anybody out there a fan of the TV show Pawn Stars? You know the guys, the family that owns the pawn shop, the famous pawn shop in America, where you see all the people bringing in all their famous stuff from celebrities and different things like that there, and collectibles and all that there. It's so sad to see that the son from the show Adam, I'm going to cut this right now. I want to make sure if I'm announcing the right son here, actually, who, yes, here we are here. Rick Harrison's son from the TV show Pawn Stars has unfortunately died of an overdose, which is so sad because even just reading through the Instagram and stuff this morning and Twitter and stuff, the photograph that he put up of him and his son, unfortunately passed away of an overdose, which is so sad. I'm not a massive fan of the show, but I'd watch it if it was on television, and I know of it because I've watched a lot of famous episodes, and my dad would watch the program quite a bit, so he would, and I know a few friends of mine who watch it religiously. But it's so sad to see. Nobody in this world wants to see their kids die before them, but he apparently died of an accidental overdose, which is really sad, and the fact that he was only 39 years of age as well was scary. So it is. So I don't know. I'm just reading through the story this morning. 39, that's nothing. I'm only 42. And I look at stories like that and I think, fucking hell, man. He's so young. You know what I mean? And he was a funny character too as well. I used to enjoy watching him on the programme. But that's one thing, a parent would hate to see as their children die before them. And I've always feared that myself, always. I always pray my kids are healthy and fine and that they have a happy, healthy life. It's just one of those things, guys, and unfortunately it was just an unfortunate overdose, which was so sad to see. Just reading it this morning there, and I was thinking, oh my God, that guy in Pawn Stars, he was so young, and it just shows you. You just never know the minute, guys. There's so many people dying young these days, and it's scary to think that, someone so young, it's remarkable. It really is. It's just so sad to see someone so young pass away. Guys, I saw a wee story here today and I wanted to bring this up, and I've been flicking through the internet over the last week or so, just reading through a few wee notes and stories and stuff, and just reading a few things, and reading some of the stories that I've read over this past week or so just makes me fucking, oh man, so many people in this world are just literally, I think they all live on a fucking different planet. People just don't have any respect for other people anymore. They're just lunatics. And I saw this story today. This is what the story was actually entailed. Wedding DJ sentenced to prison for urinating, as in pissing on, a cancer patient. Like, what the fuck is going on with people? A DJ, I'll read some of the extract of the story here. I'm reading this here. A DJ has been jailed for urinating, or as I like to call it, pissing on, a cancer patient at a social club and posting the video of it online. The fact that the fucking arsehole video doing it and then he posted it online. Fucking hell. This guy, Lee Brookfield, pleaded guilty to common assault following the incident at a tennis club in Wales. The court heard that the 40-year-old was standing next to a man by the name of Peter Barton, who has cancer, in the toilets of facilities when he filmed himself performing the stunt. It was why Barton was telling Brookfield that he was going to undergo treatment for prostate cancer that the DJ turned and urinated on his back. So this guy was in the middle of telling him that he was starting to go for treatment for his cancer. And he thought it was funny to take the piss out of this guy, literally, by standing, whipping it out and pissing all over his back and videoing it at the same time. The video was posted on Snapchat on Boxing Day, and the victim was unaware of what happened until he saw the footage. So the guy didn't even know that this motherfucker had done it to him. As a result, Brookfield said on social media, "It's just something me and the boys do when we are drunk." Is he taking the piss? Is this guy on our fucking planet? In migration, Brookfield was appalled by himself and that he wishes to apologise to the victim. But he was then sentenced. So he was to jail. I'll go on here to see here what more it says here in the... let's see how long he actually got here. Let's have a look here and see. Oh yeah, he was sentenced to 14 weeks imprisonment. He was also ordered to pay £500 compensation and the cost of £85 and £154 surge charge. 14 weeks in prison. And he said it's just a wee joke that me and the boys do whenever we're drunk. So you go around randomly fucking pissing on people, you fucking... Oh, you moron. Like, seriously, the guy was standing there just telling them, you know... Like, I've been in many toilets and bars and stuff over the years, and you stand taking the piss, and if a person walks up to the next urinal and goes to you, "Oh, all right, mate," you sort of go, "Oh, hello, how are you?" You know, just general, "Hello, how are you?" Or you're standing at the sink washing your hands, and some guy comes up beside you, and you sort of go, "Oh, hello, how are you? You all right? No, how's it going? Keeping well? Yep, dead on. No, having a good night? Yep, dead on. The way you go." You don't just stand there and randomly fucking piss on people. Some of these people out there now are just complete, I'm going to say it, fuck it, they're just absolute fucking clowns, morons, assholes, people who just need a good slap up the side of their head. Like, if I was standing in a bar and some guy randomly decided to stand piss all over my back, I'm sorry to tell you, I would whoop his ass on the spot. I wouldn't care what anybody said. The fact that the man standing there, he's making conversation with me, he goes, "I'm not too good and all, you know, I'm starting my cancer, my treatment for my prostate cancer, blah." And this guy starts taking the fucking piss out of him, laughing at him and pisses all over him. I'm sorry, the 14 weeks in prison, that guy needs more than 14 weeks in prison. That guy needs to be fucking, have his ass whipped and put into prison and taught a lesson. Like, stand there, that poor guy. You know, like, that's like me standing in a public toilet and some guy walking in and I'm making conversation. "How you doing?" "Oh, I'm not really good at the minute." No. I'd be like, what's up with you?" Just, you know, started my cancer treatment and all. You know, I'm really worried about my cancer and all. I hope this treatment and all works. And I just turn around and go, "Aye, fuck you," and start pissing all over him. Like, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with people? I don't know. What is this world coming to? I really, 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 really don't know. This world is just getting fucking worse as the weeks go by and by and by. So it is. But anyway, guys, some good news for you on the podcast. Now, I know I did tell you I'd keep an eye on these stories for you over the weeks and months go by about, you know, cost of living and price changes and things like that there. Because some of you do obviously send me in little bits and bobs, little snippets from newspaper articles, websites and stuff like that there and get me to read out stuff on the podcast. It was announced here, actually... was it today? I'm just trying to find the date. Yes, today actually it was. This morning, that your energy bills could get cheaper thanks to a new partnership between British Gas and Samsung SmartThings. Yeah. So here it says here, if you've invested in smart home gadgets throughout your home, you could be rewarded with cheaper British Gas energy bills. It's all thanks to a new partnership between British Gas and Samsung, which alerts you about the cheapest times to use your appliances. So this is all a new thing set up to try and help people save money on their gas. So if you've one of these little smart homes that has all these wee devices and stuff like that there, you could be in for saving yourself a few extra pennies when it comes to that. So, but yes, I am very glad to hear this. And I was also reading this morning as well that the gas companies are trying to negotiate new deals with other places as well to try and bring down the price of gas. And also, I've heard that other people are trying to negotiate deals as well, including local businesses here in Northern Ireland, to try and get the price of oil heating down as well, which is a good thing to see, because the prices at the minute for heating is a fucking joke. It's scandalous. So it is. And again, I always like to keep an eye on this, not just for me personally, for obviously to let you guys know what's going on in the world, because I do get a lot of you listeners come in, as I said, you send me snippets from newspaper articles and websites and stories and things like that. Did you hear about this, about that? And I love hearing all that there from you guys. So, but just to let you know, this new deal, if you are with British Gas here in the UK or Ireland, whatever, I don't know why Ireland do British Gas. I don't think they do, down south. But if you're with them, I don't even think we do it over here either, to be honest with you. I always tell people, look around, shop about for different things, different cheaper electrical companies, cheaper gas. Always look around, guys, because you never know. You always find better deals somewhere else. Always keep looking around and keep shopping about, because at the minute, especially the way things are so fucking high at the minute in price, you need to obviously keep an eye out, because some things out there are just scandalous. Now, I'm quite lucky at the minute because but around about sort of like March, April time, when it starts getting a bit more brighter, when it comes to daytimes and the clocks change for the summertime and stuff like that, I've got solar panels on my roof, which whenever I moved into this house was actually here for me, which is, I'm quite lucky. I would save a few pound a year on electric. Gas isn't too bad. Obviously at the minute it is a bit more expensive, but I'm quite lucky. So it is always expensive, but I feel sorry for people out there who still have oil heating. I just don't know how people can live like that. I would just, oh my goodness me. My first house I ever bought had oil heating, and it was a fucking nightmare. And something, even though it was 19 years ago I bought that house, it was like, back then it was a lot cheaper than it is now, but even then it was like, what, for oil? That's the price of oil? What? I'd rather have a coal fire. You know what I mean? So, but yes, hopefully this deal, for anybody out there who has British Gas, hopefully this will be a good thing for you and save you a few pennies. And hopefully not just British Gas do this, other gas companies do this as well, to try and get people to save more money on their bills, because the price of gas and electricity and all at the minute is a fripping joke, so it is. So I just thought I'd keep you up to date with that, guys. If you have any stories at all you want me to share with the listeners, send them to me on the email, send them to me on social media. I would love to hear them, and I can share them with you guys here on the podcast. So, right, let's get into some of your questions here on the podcast today. As always, I do appreciate every question that you send in to me every single week. If you want to contact me, you can by the email, which is mirrorarmypodcast@yahoo.com, or you can contact me on the social media as well. Right, let's get into the emails first of all and have a look of what you are sending me today. Right, let's have a look here. First of all, from Martin. Martin has wrote me an email saying, "Hey Matthew, how you doing? Hope you're feeling better with the flu bug going around. I watched your recent YouTube video of your family being sick, and I hope you are all feeling a lot better now. My question for the podcast is this week, bit of a random one, but what is your all-time favourite computer game of all time? I noticed in some of your vlogs over the years you play games with your son. I also play games with my son and daughter, who are currently now teenagers, which is good fun, but I wanted to know what your all-time favourite computer game is itself." Okay. Well, first of all, yes, we are feeling a lot better, as you know. All-time favourite computer game? Well, obviously it has to be the football games, the FIFA series, which I absolutely adore. Apart from that, the likes of the Call of Duty games. I used to love playing those games. The Medal of Honor games, they were going back in the day. Used to love playing all the Sonic the Hedgehog games on the Mega Drive. Pretty much the FIFA games. Obviously, WWE games as well, obviously over the years as well, but yeah, pretty much just those. And that's just being totally honest with you. Obviously it's not FIFA anymore, it's EA FC now, whatever it's called. But yeah, back in the day, I used to love playing the FIFA games, even when I was a kid. I used to love playing them. And I like them back and playing the old retro games now and again with Lewis, just to wind them up. But the likes of the Call of Duty, and obviously the FIFA games and stuff like that, they were the games I used to play back in the day. But anyway, thanks for your question. Moving on to the next one. Let's have a look here on the email. Let's have a look here and see. Right, I've one here from Rod. Is that Rod or Rodney? Is it Rodney? Rodney for short? Could be Ronald, I don't know. But Rod has wrote to me saying, "Hey Matt, how you doing? Enjoy listening to your podcast every week. Can I ask you, what is your favourite beer to drink and your favourite spirit to drink?" Okay, favourite beer? A few actually. Rockshore beer, I like at the minute. Obviously Bud Light. Spirit wise, obviously, if I had to have a choice, spirits. Well, obviously, the favourite shot that I like drinking is Sambuca. Absolutely love Sambuca more than anything in the world. But I had to drink a spirit, it would probably have to be the likes of Captain Morgan's or maybe a Jack Daniel's. Beer wise, I've tried to explore my options recently with beer. I'm trying to try different ales and beers and stuff like that there to try and explore. But at the minute still would be the likes of the Rockshores, the Bud Light, Carlsberg. I like Carlsberg beer as well, especially when it's ice cold. But that's pretty much it. So thank you for your question. Moving on to the next one. Let's have a look here and see. Right, one here from Michael. Michael on the email. Let's have a look here and say, right, hi Matthew, I just wanted to ask you a parenting question. Oh, this should be interesting. I have recently just had twins in the last year or so, a boy and a girl. Can I ask you as a father, what is the more difficult to raise, a boy or a girl? It's even harder for me now having twins, but can I ask you for parent advice on this? Which is the toughest to raise, a boy or a girl? Oh shit. Twins. Same age. Oh, I'm sure that's going to be fun. Do you know something? They both have their moments. They really do. It's a strange one for me because I always said when my two were smaller, one was loud, one was quiet. And then I always used to say when they get older, it'll change. Then the one who's normally loud will be quiet, and one will be quiet will be loud. They're just different. They have their own different ways and characters. I mean, okay, boys are boisterous. They have their hormones, their grumpy moods. They're boisterous. They're just typical boys. And then girls, you've got your bitchy moods and time of the month mood swings and issues with boys and all drama, especially we girls nowadays in this generation. We boys are just as bloody bad too. It'll both come in phases. Give you an example. Like for example, when they get to like maybe 4 or 5, the boy could be really quiet and the girl could be really loud and out there and all full of energy and all drama and blah blah blah. And then when they get to like 13, 14, the girl could be as quiet as a mouse and the boy could be loud and obnoxious, and it could just sort of flip and change. Or it could be both the same. It's hard to say, but it's hard to pinpoint who's the easiest to bring up, because with my two and my experience, obviously everybody's experiences is different, but with my experience it's been like when they were smaller, Lewis was the loud one, running around, being a boy, shouting all the time and having to be a boy, and Brooke was the nice wee quiet one sitting in a room, and now it's like Lewis is the quiet, discreet one, and Brooke's the whole typical 18-year-old out there being loud sometimes and blah blah blah. But again, their personality changes over time, and again, it all boils down to how you bring them up, and most importantly, discipline, boundaries, and also routine. Routine is a key word when you're a new parent. Routine. I learned that from the very start. Routine. When it comes to the likes of bedtime, dinner times, certain things that they do in their life, like, for example, school, just general day-to-day stuff. There's a lot of young parents out there that don't give a shit and let their kids go fucking boogaloo, and they're running around going mad, and they've no routine, and they've no boundaries, and they've no restrictions, and they've no, there's no rules in the house for them. They just run around going mad, and then when they grow up, they do exactly the same with their kids because they don't know what it is. But with me, it was like straight from day one. I'll tell you a parenting story. I always remember this very, 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 like it was yesterday, should we say. Whenever Brooke and Lewis's mum was pregnant with Brooke, I always remember having the conversation. We were waiting one day for the health visitor to come. And the health visitor is a person who comes out to your house and like checks mum over and makes sure everything's fine, like the baby's heart's beating, and blood pressure, and ask any questions, and just general checkup and stuff like that. So this first visit we were having at the time, and I remember having the conversation in the kitchen at the time with the mum before the health visitor arrived, and I said, whenever the child's born, we'll have to obviously, teach the child from the start who's the parent, and routine's a key thing, like bedtimes and feeding times, and right from the start, and she was like, oh yeah, we'll talk about it later, sure. And then whenever the health visitor came out, and they were just sort of, she was sitting there and she was talking away and stuff, and she brought this wee contraption out at the time, and like, I remember, guys, this was like 19 years ago nearly. This was too early 2005, and she put the wee box in the mum's belly, and heard the wee heartbeat coming out through the wee machine. And I remember coming over with her. This is how long ago this was. I had like a wee MP3 player recorder thing in my pocket at the time. I asked her, could I record the heartbeat? And I still have the recording to this day. And I remember the health visitor turned around saying to their mum, I always say this to new parents at the very start. She says, I always tell them, routine's a key factor from the start, and you must always let your child know from the very start that you're the boss, you're the parent, and they're the child, and even when they're growing up and all, and they go through toddler stage and all, you have to keep them in a routine and all, just makes your life a lot easier when you're bringing them up and stuff. And when she left that day, I always remember turning around and saying, I did tell you that from the very start. And lo and behold, from the very start, we were always keen on routines. Obviously, bedtimes, and when there were babies feeding times and stuff like that there. Because obviously with us being both working parents as well, you obviously try and keep the baby in a routine, and you don't want to be walking the floors 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, with eyeballs hanging out of your head, and then when they get to toddler stage where they're running the floors at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night when you need to be in bed sleeping for work, you know what I mean? So it was good that way. And it's just, the moral of the story is obviously try and keep the routine going, and obviously try and keep them in a routine as much as you can. But the answer to the original question, it's hard to pick. I could turn around and say to you now, oh, boys are easier to bring up and all, and then your son grows up and becomes a wee nightmare, and it's just been a wee shit, and just being a wee torture, as all those wee boys do, because they're boisterous and they're running around doing their boy things. And then I could say to you, oh, but girls are easy and all that there. And then the next minute your daughter grows up and she's a wee brat, and she's a cheeky wee madam, and she's wrecking the house and going mad. And we were quite lucky with Brooke at the start, because Brooke slept all night, and then Lewis had bad colic, but we got over that in my experience. But it's hard to say, really. It just depends on how you bring them up. So it does. How you bring them up, and how you try and teach them the routine and right from wrong and stuff like that. So that's the way I would look at it. You know what I mean? So being a parent is hard, and I'm sure your hands are going to be filled with twins. So best of luck to you, because I'm sure by about 10 or 11 you'll probably have about 35, maybe 40 more new grey hairs in your head. But no, listen, having kids is a blessing. And especially that I have people I know in my life who have twins, and it's been hard for them at the start, but now they're older and, it gets a lot easier. But I mean, the next couple of years is going to be hard because you've got twins and it's going to be hard. And especially a boy and girl, because boy and girls tend to argue more when they get older. Because my son and daughter would kind of like get at each other's throats sometimes, it's just typical brother and sister. You know what I mean? And they're teenagers, which makes it even worse. But I hope that clears it up for you, and good luck. Let me know how you're getting on with your parenting with your twins as time goes on. Right, guys, I'm going to move on to the Instagram. Going to be a bit of a sniffle here, and I don't know what's wrong with me. Yes, Instagram. Where are we here now? Let's have a look here and see. Excuse me. Let's get into that. I should have had the Instagram open, guys, before I pushed record on the podcast today. Matthew, what are you doing? Let's have a look here and see. Right. One here from Linda on Instagram says, "Hello there. I hope you're well. My brother Mark is from Newton Ards. Hey, local guy, local area. He turns 40. And I know he's a big fan of your vlogs and he watches them all the time, especially the Liverpool and the wrestling ones. I know he'd love it if you could possibly give him a wee birthday shout out in one of your videos or something else. Thanks." Well, I'll try and do it in the vlog as well. I don't know why he listens to the podcast or not, but it says here from Linda, it's Mark's 40th birthday. So happy birthday, Mark. You're 40. 40 years of age. I know how that felt when I turned 40. I'm only joking. Listen, I hope you've had a fantastic birthday. I think she said it was yesterday when she sent me this message. I hope you had a great birthday. Hope you got loads of presents, spoiled rotten by your family. And thank you for supporting our YouTube channel. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Let's go on to another one here on Instagram. So I can see. Right, I've one here from Joel. Joel Davison on Instagram has said, "Hello Matthew, just wanted to let you know that I am a massive Manchester United supporter, but I must say I do love watching your Liverpool videos. Fair play to you and Lewis travelling back and forward from Northern Ireland all the time. I live in Manchester and I find it quite difficult to get tickets for games, even though I live in the Manchester area, but fair play to you too for travelling back and forward all the time supporting your club. It must cost you a fortune, but it shows you how much dedication you have to your club. Love watching all your YouTube videos and listening to your podcast every week. Hope you and your family are keeping well soon, as I see a lot of you are all being sick at the moment. Hope you are all keeping well." And that is from Joel. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate it. I enjoy going to Liverpool matches. I love it. And obviously I'll keep continuing going as long as I can. But thank you for your message, Joel. I do appreciate it a lot. Right, let's get another one here from... Right, one here... Where's it? Mason. Yes, there's one there from Mason. Mason writes to me, "Hey Matthew, stupid question for your podcast this week. What is your favourite colour? LOL, only kidding. What is your favourite dish to cook? And will you ever do any more cooking videos like you used to do back in the day? Keep up the good work." Okay, Mason, my favourite colour is red. Red and black. Red, black and blue. Favourite dish to cook? I don't know. I like a good pasta dish. Pasta carbonara or something simple. I'm a very plain eater. Love a good steak. It's pretty much me. I'm pretty much a plain eater. When I'm eating out, I just love something different. And as I've got older, I've started trying new foods. So, yeah, I love a good steak. I love a good pasta dish. So, I hope that clears it up for you. Right, I'll do one more on Instagram before I head over to the Facebook page here. Let's have a look here and see. I have one here from Jacob on Instagram. Let's check where he's from. Jacob is from Cardiff. Hello, Jacob from Cardiff. How are you? "Hey Matthew, came across your YouTube channel by watching your Clash at the Castle videos at the Principality Stadium last year. I've been watching over 1,000 of your videos, wow, since then, and I must say I enjoy your content every single time. I've noticed you haven't posted as much content as much lately as what you used to, which I understand due to work and obviously being sick, etc., and being very, very busy. But I do look forward to watching all your videos. Greetings from Cardiff, by the way. And when will you ever be in Cardiff again? Are you planning to come to Wales anytime soon? Well, you know something? I actually enjoyed Cardiff. I actually really enjoyed Cardiff. And I wish I had spent more time in the city. I know we flew to Bristol and stayed in Bristol, but only in Cardiff really just to go to the stadium for the show and then leave. I wish I had spent more time in the city. But I would love to go back to Cardiff and spend more time in the city, because I did enjoy it. Now, I spent more time in Bristol, checking out Bristol, than what I did actually Cardiff. But I'd love to go back to Cardiff and just sort of spend time there and sort of see more of Cardiff. But I actually really enjoyed it. And the Principality Stadium was fantastic, so it was. But yes, that would be definitely one on my bucket list, to go back to Cardiff this time and actually spend time in Cardiff. It would be actually nice to do that. So it would be. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I get to go back to Cardiff very, very soon. So, right, let's get on to the Facebook page, which is the Moore Army YouTube channel Facebook page. Guys, please drop a like on that page. I would appreciate it. Let's have a look. I'll take 2 from the Facebook page, and then we'll do Jackass of the Week. So we will. Right, let's get into the Facebook page here and see. Hey Matthew, enjoy listening to your podcast. Quick question for this week's podcast, if there is any. Well, obviously there is, because I'm talking to you now. What is your favourite Only Fools and Horses moment? I know you're a big fan of the show, as you've talked about before, but what is your all-time favourite moment of the show? Get well soon. I hope yourself, Brooke and Lewis, gets well soon. I know you're all sick at the moment, and hope you all feel better soon. Okay. Right, well, my favourite moment in Only Fools and Horses has to be probably, I love the Jolly Boys outing. So I do. I love the Jolly Boys outing. One of my favourite parts is one of the last scenes of the show, where Rodney's standing at the graveyard with Del Boy and the baby, and he shows the headstone that he was named the daughter after the mum. I like that part. Obviously, the bit where they fall through the bar. One of the parts were really sad, where Rodney finally opens up after his missus has an abortion. He opens up in the lift to Del Boy. Del Boy deliberately gets the lift to stop so he can actually start talking about it, because he wouldn't speak about it. Other sad parts is when Grandad died. There's so many iconic moments, but to put a finger on the best moment, so many. Everybody talks about the famous moments, like the fall through the bar and all those favourite moments. I don't really specifically can point to. I like, there's another sad part in it for me as well, is when Rodney gets married to Cassandra, and then they do the bit at the end where Del Boy's left standing on his own on the dance floor at the reception, and the camera pans out, and it has that Simply Red song playing. It's just a sad moment where Del Boy realises that Rodney's all grew up now, and he's moved out, and he's now a married man, and he's on his own. Just those moments that in that show that obviously stand the test of time, but I can't really turn around now and say that's my favourite moment there out of all of it, because there's so many favourite moments I have in the show. So, but yeah, iconic show, love it to bits. But thank you for your question, I appreciate it. Move on to one last one before I head on to Jackass of the Week for this week. Let's have a look here and see. One here from, is it Finnegan? Is that your first name or is that your surname? Finnegan? Okay, Finnegan. Says, hey Matthew, can I ask you what's your all-time favourite comedy TV show? And are you looking forward to any new movies coming out in 2024? All-time favourite comedy show? Gee whiz. I'm a big fan of Adrian Edmondson and Rick Mell. All the old 80s stuff. I love the old comedies. I have a list of maybe 10 I could go through. The likes of Bottom, The Young Ones, Only Fools and Horses, Faulty Towers, Blackadder. Jesus, I love the old TV series from Sid James called Bless This House. Oh my God, there's so many I could watch all year round. I really could. There's so many comedies I could watch all year round. Films this year, yes, there is actually. Funny enough, I was talking to my daughter about that yesterday. Apparently there's a new Lethal Weapon film coming out this year. Thank God, long overdue. And apparently there's another Bad Boys movie coming out this year as well. So if them two are coming out, I will be well looking forward to seeing those. Even though I don't go to the cinema that often, but I will be going to the cinema to watch those. There's certain movies I go to the cinema to watch, and that would be in that category, those two, and also James Bond movies. Always go and watch the new James Bond movies every single time. So, yes, they'll be the two that I'll be looking forward to in 2024. So, hope that clears it up for you. But anyway, guys, let's move on to the final segment of the podcast. The segment has not been on the podcast since before Christmas. Yes, it is now time for my favourite part of the podcast. It's now time for the Moore Army Podcast Jackass of the Week segment. There he is. How bumbling Boris the donkey. Boris has been locked up in his wee area since Christmas. He hasn't been out, so he's now out today and he's happy. Well, guys, this didn't take much consideration for Jackass of the Week because he's always suggest every week, but after, speaking about it on the podcast today, and a lot of you have been in contact with me to speak about it today, it's a very simple pick for this week. After very little consideration, the Moore Army Podcast Jackass of the Week for this week is, can I get a drum roll, please? Thank you very much. The Moore Army Podcast Jackass of the Week for this week is the one and only Jeanette McCranky, a.k.a. Nicola Sturgeon. How could you not give the award to her this week? She's actually in the inquiry thing this week, or whatever it is, about all the messages that she was hiding, about all the crap about COVID and the lies and the deceit and all the crap that's coming out about her now. How can you not give her Jackass of the Week this week? You have to. It's just common sense to give it to her, because she is a jackass. Jeanette McCranky, I call her. Well, guys, that's going to bring us to the end of this week of the Moore Army Podcast. We are back to normal now, thank God. No more sickness, no more illnesses, no more this, no more that. That is it. We are back. So we are, yes. And we're creeping up to 100 episodes, so please keep giving your suggestions what we're going to do for the 100th episode. A lot of you are saying that I should be doing it as a video format for a 100th episode. I think that's a good idea, actually. We should do that. Yes, I want to hear your suggestions for the 100th episode of the podcast. Keep them coming. Guys, if you want to get in touch with me, you know how to do it by now. You can do it by the email, moorearmypodcast@yahoo.com. Don't forget to check out our website, moorearmy.co.uk. for all your podcasts, YouTube videos, social media posts. You can buy your Moore Army merchandise as well. There's some cool merchandise on there now. Moore Army Guide t-shirts and more. There's a new t-shirt range out there. Go and check them out. There's mugs on there. There's t-shirts. There's hoodies for kids, women, children, adults, the lot. Get on there and check them out, guys. And you get them within a couple of days. So a lot of you, as I said to you in the last podcast, were sending me photos over Christmas of you getting your merchandise over Christmas and all too as well, your hoodies and jumpers and stuff. So thank you very much for that, guys. Thank you for supporting the Moore Army. I appreciate it. Well, I'm off here now to get my day continued on, get this podcast out, get a vlog put on YouTube today, and also get my house cleaned, and then I'm going to have a beer tonight. Finally get to sit down tonight, feeling a lot more better myself, and enjoy a cold beer tonight. Now, I don't know why Tony's coming tonight or not. I honestly don't know, because I haven't heard from him, so I don't know what he's doing. But regardless, I'll still be having a cold beer tonight, and I'll still be chilling out. So it will be. And I'm back to football on Saturday. Cannot wait. And by the way, if you're in Belfast on Saturday, by the way, guys, come along and say hi at Danny Blanchflower Stadium. We're playing at home on Saturday to Newington. So if you're about, you want to have a game of football, and you're in the Belfast area, come by Blanchflower Stadium, and don't forget to say hello while you're there. Like to meet, like to see us all there. Right, guys, until Thursday, or next Tuesday, sorry. I'm speaking. I keep thinking this is Tuesday. I will see you back here for another episode, talking all the nonsense as usual of the Moore Army Podcast. So until then, have a great weekend, stay safe, and I will see you back here on Tuesday for another episode of the Moore Army Podcast. Have a great weekend, guys, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks for listening.